Can anyone share at least one takeaway from your class, from the second chapter or from the first chapter so far?
Hare Krishna Prabhuji. So from the second chapter, it is we are not the body, we are soul, and a soul is eternally existing. We cannot dry or wet the soul. We cannot cut the soul. It's ever existing. The second chapter talks about the soul.
Okay, thank you. Anyone else? Can anyone share any other
Uh,
point on the
Prabhuji from
second
the.
chapter?
Oh no, I was talking the first chapter.
Oh yeah, you can please explain the first chapter as well.
Uh,
Add any point,
I
please.
remember because that was the first part where Arjuna was very much doubtful. Yeah. So, like even the strongest and most intelligent and the person who is very capable of doing something, yeah, they can also be, uh, they can also be overwhelmed and feel confusion, like moral confusion when it comes to facing difficult situations, like when he saw that he was standing against his own relatives. Yeah. So I mean, uh, he he kind of broke down in front of the Lord. Like, uh, if I'm not mistaken, that was the first. It was in the first chapter.
Yes.
Uh, if like actually they overlap so much
Yes.
that like, yeah. So actually, what I was trying to do is, first when you were doing the first chapter, is after your classes, I was just reading the summary.
Okay.
Yeah. So I remember reading this.
Very nice, Mataji. I think you covered, nicely. Anyone else? It need not be a first chapter. Any so far whatever we have discussed.
Yeah,
Whatever you
nothing,
think, right? And
nothing
please.
specific on a chapter, Prabhuji, but one of the things was
Yes.
action
Anything we
is like
discussed.
unavoidable, right? We have to do our duty, but the attachment is optional. So we can decide whether we should be attached to the results or not, or just do your duty without being attached to it. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, that is a Karmanya Vadikaraste, 2.47 in the second chapter. Very nice, Prabhuji. Anybody else? Okay. So I will just give you a quick overview again. You know, so in the first chapter, as Priyanka Mataji mentioned, Arjuna was overwhelmed. So he has given four reasons to Krishna for not fighting: compassion for his relatives, and um, and fear of sinful reactions in killing his relatives. And third point, um, no no enjoyment after killing all the relatives, because we normally earn a lot, probably we want to have some relatives to show off. So he said, if you don't have any relatives, how can it be enjoyable? And third, a fourth reason was, if the elderly men, or if a lot of men are killed in the battle, the women and children, they're vulnerable. They may be misguided, because of which there'll be a lot of Varna Sankaras. Varna Sankaras means the children born in an unethical or illegal way. So they are burdened to the society, and they may not be following any samskaras, for the Pitrus and for the forefathers. So those are the four reasons where Arjuna, cited that he does not want to fight. And coming to the second chapter, initially Arjuna hesitated. And then at one point in time, when Krishna put a little bit pressure on him at the start of the chapter, how did you get this Kashmalam? Impurities in your mind. It doesn't fit you. Um, um, you are a Kshatriya. It is anarya. Arya means Aryans. In general, in India, it is used differently, but in general, Aryan means those who know the value of the life, right? Those who have studied the scriptures, those who know the value of their life. He said it is anarya. You are an Arya, but what you're behaving is anarya. It will lead you to infamy. People will make fun of you. That is worse than being killed in the battle. And then Arjuna suddenly said, okay, Krishna, I don't know what to do. You tell me what is the long-term benefit for me. Shreyo, you know, uh, there are two things I used to mention in this call, Shreyas and Prayas. Shreyas is long-term benefit. Prayas is short-term benefit. Krishna says in the 16th chapter, all these things Krishna will explain and elaborate. Those which are difficult in the beginning, those who are like poison in the beginning, the good ones, they'll be nectar in the end. But those who are nectar in the beginning will be a poison at the end. For example, if one does not want to do exercise, right? They can sit in the couch and then eat potato chips and everything. It's so nicing and pleasing, right? Watching movie. But at the end, they will have some illness. But on the other hand, if somebody does exercises for the long-term benefit, it is very useful. So likewise, shreyas and prayas are separated. And Arjuna wants, what is the long-term benefit? I may be killing my relatives now, but what is the long-term benefit? In the short term, it is like a poison. I cannot accept it. But what is the long-term benefit? Tell me if I will do it. Then he surrendered to Krishna. And then Krishna started explaining to him Atma Jnana, about the soul, right? Soul is the ABCD of spirituality. So only when we understand that we are not this body, we are a spirit soul, then we will know who we are. If you are on the bodily platform, we want to enjoy as much in the bodily platform as much as possible, and that will attach us to this world again and again, because we will be enjoying in the sense gratification mode, and we will try to satisfy us and everything, you know that will bind us, because we have to face the reaction of everything that we do in this world. That's what we are going to read in the Karma Yoga. Whatever we do on the bodily platform, there will be some reactions. That's why we need to understand that we are not this body, we are the spirit soul. Then we'll know. So if I'm a spirit soul, where did I come from? Then the Shastras answers, we are part and parcel of Krishna. So if I know that I'm part and parcel of Krishna, what should I do? We have to serve the Lord. We have to be a servant to the Lord. And we need devotional service. And sometimes we will always have a question, why should I do the devotional service? Those things will be explained in the subsequent chapters. So Krishna explained the Atma Jnana. And then Krishna was saying, okay, so far I've explained Atma Jnana. Even for enjoyment, even if you win, you will get the kingdom. If you lose, you will go to heaven. That's also enjoyment. Then Krishna twisted a little bit. He talked about Bhakti Yoga. Just for my sake, just to please me, you fight. And then Arjuna did not react much. So Krishna thought probably he's a Kshatriya, you want to work. So he just switched to Karma Yoga. He said, don't get attached to the results. Be detached. Just fight for the sake of fighting. As your prescribed duty as a Kshatriya, do it. And then when you do it, you said Yogastha Karmani. Whatever we do, Krishna says, just think about me, offer it to me. That's it. Everything will be okay. That is the art of work. Krishna will explain in detail everything. There's 4 lines of 2.47 shloka in this Karma Yoga. How to work in a detached way. For example, I was also talking to somebody. I went to my some volunteering in the school. I was talking to one Mataji. So, when you get attached to any work, attached to any work and attached to the results, right? It will create anxiety, right? Whether I will win or lose, it will slowly building up anxiety. But when you get detached, it will give us the freedom of doing the things more nicely in a perfect way. I know, um, you know, 10 years back, there was a person called Rajaram who is in the Bay Area in California. He was a billionaire. And during the stock market crash, he has become like a normal person. He was not a beggar. Yes, he did not become a beggar or pauper. His wealth reduced drastically. Maybe he may be having few $1 million instead of $1 billion, but he could not tolerate it because that was his total attachment to the money, total attachment to the success. And what he did was, he came home, he locked the room, he killed his wife, kids, and he also shot himself. So this is a very extreme example. You know, that is the force of attachment. When we get too much attached, we get more anxiety. But when we lose it, it increases the anxiety, and we lose our peace. Right? So that's the reason Krishna says, don't get attached to the result, detached, but do your work to the best of your ability. If you deserve it, you will get it. If you don't deserve it, you won't get it. Because everything is, many of the things that we will get it in materially, right? It's because of our prarabdha karma, not spiritually. Spiritually is different, but materially it is because of our prarabdha karma. And then Krishna talked about, more things on the karma yoga. And then Arjuna was thinking so far, okay, Krishna talked a lot. He wants to understand who is that person who has all these qualifications? Who is that self-realized person? Arjuna asked. Then Krishna talked about Sthita Prajna, a self-realized person. How does he act? You know, he, he does not have a material desires. He does not go after sense enjoyment. He controls it. But he is happy with what he himself. He is Tukkeshvan Prajahati Yada Kaman Sarvan Partha Manogatan Atman Yevatmana Tushtaha Sita Prajna Sadochite. He is happy about himself because he's considering himself as a servant of the Lord. He knows that he is the spirit soul, which is Satchidananda, Sat, Chit, Ananda, Sat, eternal, Chit, Chit means full of knowledge, Ananda means blissful. So he is happy with that. And he is not worried about any distressful. He thinks that it's because of his prarabdha karma. If it is happiness, he thinks it is also because of Krishna's grace. And also he controls his sense like a tortoise, and at the same time um, he focuses mind on Krishna whatever he does. And Krishna was also explaining how a person falls down because of the anger, in 7 steps. When somebody thinks, he develops desire, attachment, lust, and then he loses his intelligence, he loses his memory, and then he falls down. I gave an example of Ravana, trying to kidnap Sita Devi, and then it's because of his lust, and then finally he fell down at the hands of Sri Rama. And then Krishna explains that the senses are so powerful. Even if you lose control of one sense, it will pull all the senses. It pull oneself like a boat being carried away by the wind. And then Krishna talks about the self-realized person, who, when it is night for uh, normal material person, it is day for the self-realized person, and vice versa. We also know, right? People, the self-realized or devotees, they get up early in the morning, Brahma Muhurta, they do japa, they do puja and everything. But during that time, the materially motivated person, will be sleeping. But when the self-realized person goes to bed early in the night, the materially motivated person will be working or slogging like anything. And then Krishna explains the self-realized person, and he may be getting a lot of desires inflow in his mind, but he is always um, feeling full. He is not getting agitated. Just like a samudra in the ocean, the rivers flow like anything during the monsoon period, but the ocean does not get agitated. That is the mindset of a Chitta Prajna. Though we'll get a lot of desires, but we're always feeling full and we don't get to react to all those desires. Krishna says that is the person who will get shanti, peacefulness. He does not have ahankara. Ahankara means, um, you know, me. Uh, I am, I am such and such a person. I'm so powerful. uh, uh, those type of thing, false ego. And he does not also have mamakara, it is mine, mine, mine. So that person will have shanti. And Krishna says, even at the time of death, one remembers all these qualities, he will come to me. That's what Krishna says in the second chapter. So any questions so far, any thoughts? I will go to the karma yoga shortly. I just thought, and more people joined today. Probably I will just give you a quick recap. Okay. So let us go to the Karma Yoga. So in the Karma Yoga, so in the second chapter, if you see, Krishna mixes up a lot of things, not deliberately. Krishna says a lot of things, but for the common people like us, it may be confusing. And that is, Arjuna is representing us. So he wants to get clarified as much as possible. So Arjuna will ask one question in this chapter. So, and then Krishna will answer in the whole chapters. Around 42 shlokas are there, 43 shlokas are there. So, I think we studied up until 4 or 5 shlokas last year. I will just go, sorry, last week, I'll go over. And Arjuna is saying in the last chapter, Krishna talked more about Shanti, that is peace. And he also talked about fight. Fight. Um, in the last 20 shlokas, when Krishna was describing the self-realized person, Krishna talked more about Shanti, peace, peace, peace. And before that, he talked about fight. And in one of the shlokas, 2.39, Krishna wanted Arjuna to keep himself away from avaram karma. Avaram karma means inauspicious activity using buddhi yoga. Durena yavaram karma buddhi yoga dhananjaya. Using buddhi yoga. So Krishna talked about peacefulness. Krishna again talked about fight. Krishna talked about keeping oneself away from avaram karma, inauspicious work. And he also talked about buddhi yoga. So Arjuna got confused. Arjuna said, why do you want me to engage in this ghastly warfare if you think that intelligence is better than fruity work? My intelligence is bewildered by your equivocal instructions. Therefore, please tell me decisively which will be the most beneficial to me. So Arjuna got a little bit confused because of these two and also Buddhi Yoga. So, but Krishna really meant it differently. So let me explain. Let me put a slide here. So Arjuna's question is whether to fight or detach from fight. Or because Arjuna got confused on Buddhi Yoga. Buddhi Yoga means, in general, Krishna meant Nishkama yoga, Karma Yoga or Karma Yoga, that is doing work with detachment, spirit, using our intelligence. But Arjuna got confused. So Krishna talked about Shanti, Shanti, self-realized person, and he also talked about Buddhi. Buddhi is generally um, uh, uh, used more in the Jnana Yoga. So there are two types of yoga. Let me explain that. Please allow me to explain to you will understand Jnana Yoga. So in Jnana Yoga, people do study a lot of scriptures and then they come to an understanding that this world is temporary. And this world, whatever activities that we do, it binds us. If I do good activity, I get good karma. If I do bad activity, I get bad karma. And then I have to take birth and again. So it binds me. It makes me to take birth and again. So once one has that realization, he says, no, I'm not going to work anymore. I'm going to take sannyasa. I'm going to renunciate. Let me go to the forest or some place, let me do vanaprastha, right? That is called jnana yoga. And karma yoga is when karma yoga or nishkama karma yoga, they're all saying, is when one does your work with a detached spirit. So Krishna meant buddhi yoga means karma yoga. Karma yoga means do it with a detached spirit. Don't do avaram karma. Avaram karma, Krishna here, it means any work which is done with a selfish motivation. Because when we do any work just for our satisfaction, for our selfish motivation, it will again bind us to take birth again and again. So Krishna calls that work as avaram karma and buddhi yoga as the nishkama karma yoga. So that's where Arjuna got confused. Now Krishna answers. Arjuna is saying is binary. Either shall I do this or do this. But Krishna says both. Fight with detachment. It's an integrated solution Krishna is giving to him. Right? So let me again explain. The second chapter is also a little bit tricky, but third chapter is a little bit tricky, but after the third chapter, everything will be very straightforward. But I want to explain again. Arjuna got confused in the 2.39 shloka between avaram karma, which Krishna wanted him to avoid. But avaram karma, Krishna meant is the inauspicious work that will bind, when we have a motivation in doing any work without detachment. And then Krishna asked him to use buddhi yoga. Here, Krishna uses buddhi yoga in the context of karma yoga. Using intelligence, detach yourself from the work. But Arjuna thought buddhi yoga means jnana yoga. Jnana yoga means I need to retire, I need to renunciate, because Arjuna never wanted to fight. So when we have some preconceived notion in our mind, we want to do that activity, right? So Arjuna already doesn't want to fight, but Krishna here says, using buddhi yoga, keep away from avaram karma or inauspicious work. And Arjuna thought buddhi yoga is jnana yoga. Jnana yoga people will, they will renunciate. They will become sannyasis. Oh, I will go back. I will go to forest and become a sannyasi, Krishna. That is his point of, understanding the concept. But Krishna's real point was no. Arjuna's point was fight or detach. Should I fight or detach using uh, these things? Fighting is karma yoga and detaching is jnana yoga. But Krishna says fight with detachment, right? So that is the concept here. Krishna is explaining, but Arjuna got a little bit confused. They are calling like the Acharya is also calling mental cupboard. See, for example, you have a cupboard, different spaces to organize different things, but suddenly you get some item, but you're not able to fit it in the cupboard. Likewise, we always have some preconceived notion on something, but suddenly when you are challenged with a new concept, um, you know, we get bewildered. So Acharyas explained that we need to open and we need to get our questions answered and adopt to the new concept. Likewise, that's the reason Arjuna is asking Krishna, hey Krishna, I'm confused. You say fight in one place, and then you say shanti in one place, and you say at one place, don't do inauspicious work. In other place, you do jnana yoga. I'm confused. He's not able to fit it into his mind. So, Krishna is explaining this whole chapter. Does anyone have any doubts in this, whatever explained so far? Does it make sense? Is it clear? I tried my level best.
Yes, Prabhuji, it
Yes,
helps to
Prabhuji.
understand. Yeah.
Nirmal, Sai, Vishnu, Prabhuji, Priyanka Mataji.
It's clear, Prabhuji.
Oh,
Clear.
thank you. So this is one of the complicated concept here, because we need to understand what is Arjuna's mindset, right? That will help us to understand the Bhagavad Gita more, because that is the beauty of Bhagavad Gita. Many times we think the Bhagavad Gita is confusing because we are confused. That is what Acharyas explained. Bhagavad Gita is not confusing, but we are confused. So we need to get answers for this. So, and the other thing is, Arjuna is asking, work or detachment? Work leads to reaction, no work leads to no reaction. And Arjuna says, I will not fight, I will beg. Then Krishna says, do both, work with the detachment. So Krishna again says, I've already explained to you, there are two classes of men who try to realize the self, who try to make progress in the self-realization or make progress in the spiritual path. Some are inclined to by empirical philosophical speculation. That's what I mentioned. Jnana yoga. Now, Krishna is explaining this concept, Jnana yoga and Karma yoga, and others by devotional service. Prabhupada explains Karma yoga as a devotional service. It is also, in its pure form, Karma yoga is a devotional service. So, in Bhagavad Gita, Krishna, there are different yogas. Let me explain it with another slide. That will help to understand a little bit more, because we'll come across these points again and again in Bhagavad Gita. Vikarma, this Karma Kanda, and Karma Yoga, and then Jnana Yoga. So the Vikarma is any unethical work, not according to our scriptures. Karma Kanda means working for our self-satisfaction, working for our own self-enjoyment, more selfish kind of work, Karma Kanda. Generally, people do this type of work only. It is not bad, uh, but Krishna wants us to get into the next level. So that is called Karma Yoga. Karma Yoga means where we work, but we work with a detached spirit, so that we don't get anxiety of working. If you go to any competition, if you go to any work, presentation, anything, but if you don't get attached to the outcome, you just do it for the pleasure of the Lord, right? You do it with a detachment. That is Karma Yoga. And Krishna will also explain in the next step of Karma Yoga, you do it with a detachment, but at the same time, you also offer it to me. You do it as a sacrifice to me. That is another level. And then comes, what happens is, when you do this with a detachment spirit, when you do any work with a detached spirit, right? Slowly, we come out of the self-satisfaction or self-enjoyment mode, and we'll be ready to renounce it. In general, uh, people will be ready to renunciate this all the activities, and they will focus only on the Jnana Yoga, renunciation. Some people will become sannyasa, everything. But for normal grihasthas, right? So it comes bhakti yoga. Bhakti yoga. Bhakti yoga. So one can go to bhakti yoga from karma yoga or jnana yoga, or one can go from say karma kanda, and from any point. One can go to bhakti yoga from any point, right? So here Krishna is explaining that shloka. There are two types of people. One who does karma yoga, do any work with a detached spirit, with a detachment. And there are other type of people who renunciate work fully because they know that the world is temporary and it creates bonding. So they renunciate, they take sannyasa, and then they also perfect their life through self-realization. So these are the two things Krishna is as mentioned in the previous sloka. But our acharyas explain at any point of time, this is called as a yoga ladder, right? You can, one can, typically most of the people are in this karma kanda portion, but we can go to karma yoga, we can go to jnana yoga and bhakti yoga. But the acharyas explain the best way is, and then bhakti yoga, and then after that is full surrender, prapatti, full surrender to the Lord. Prapatti. So we can go from karma kanda to bhakti yoga surrender, or karma yoga to bhakti surrender, or jnana yoga to bhakti surrender. But the acharyas explain why do we take a long route? Just go to bhakti yoga and surrender to the Lord. That's what Krishna. That is the summum bonum of Bhagavad Gita in 18.66. Sarva dharman paritejya mamekam sharanam vraja aham tva sarva pavepyah mokshayishyami masacha. Abandon all varieties of religions and just surrender unto me. Okay, I will give you moksha. I will protect you from all sinful reactions. Don't fear. Krishna guarantees, don't fear. He says, don't fear. Masuchaha. That's why in South India, in lot of temples, Lord Narayana will be having like hands like this, like palm like this, and then you'll say, Masuchaha. Don't worry. You surrender unto me. So that is the main thing. So that can be even done in, when you do the bhakti yoga, all these below yoga, karma yoga, jnana yoga are encompassed, right? So in bhakti yoga, when you get into the bhakti yoga, whatever activity that you do, you offer the results to Lord. You do it for the pleasure of the Lord, and also you want to know more about the Lord, right? And that's why you are also in karma yoga. You are developing a lot of knowledge about the Lord, and then you get in jnana yoga, and also you get a lot of detachment from the material standpoint, material enjoyment. So that is also a part of jnana yoga. So that is why Prabhupada is very, very clever. Is the founder acharya. From the beginning itself, he is taking us into the path of bhakti yoga. Though it is a karma yoga, he is including it as a bhakti yoga. Because in Bhagavad Gita, starting from the 7th chapter only, the bhakti yoga starts. And it culminates into a surrender in the 18th chapter. But Prabhupada takes us one into the bhakti yoga from the beginning. We don't need to waste time, you know. So that is the point here. Krishna explaining there are two types of yogis, karma yogis and jnana yogi. And again, this sloka also we Krishna explained. So Krishna explained, okay, Arjuna, there are two types of yogas, jnana yoga and karma yoga. From Krishna's standpoint, he wants Arjuna to fight. He does not want Arjuna to take sannyasa as part of jnana yoga. So he says, see Arjuna, not by merely abstaining from work one can achieve freedom from reaction, nor by renunciation alone one can attain perfection. So the meaning of it, right? Arjuna has this a tendency, he wants to get away from this fighting, right? He's thinking that it may cause sinful reactions, right? He's killing his dear relatives. He wants to get away from it. Okay. And that's what Krishna is discouraging. Not by merely abstaining from work, one can achieve freedom from reaction. It's a counter arguing, right? You can escape from your duty, no, but you think you won't incur any sinful reaction. That's the wrong point, because consider a doctor is going to do a surgery. When he does a surgery, it's going to be a little bit painful to the patient, but suddenly the doctor thinks, ahimsa paramo dharma. That means it's a Veda Vakyam. Don't hurt any living beings, right? And the doctor puts his knife down and then he goes away, but the patient suffers, right? Doctor did the right thing. Ahimsa paramo dharma, right? But as per the Shastra, what doctor did was wrong, because he has, as a doctor, as a surgeon, he has to do his duty, right? To help the people, get away from the pain. Likewise, as a Kshatriya, Arjuna's duty is to protect the people, right, from the enemies. If Arjuna think that he does not need to fight, that way he avoids the sinful reaction. Krishna correcting, no. If you don't do your prescribed duty as a Kshatriya, then you will incur sinful reactions. That is Krishna's argument. No. And then Krishna also says, you think that you can go to forest and then just like that you can go to the forest and then, or you beg there and then you will attain perfection? No, you have a swabhava, right? Just by merely renunciating, just by merely becoming a sannyasi prematurely without doing karma yoga, you cannot attain perfection, because Arjuna is like a kshatriya. If he does renunciation, if he goes to the forest as a sannyasi and beg food, he will again quarrel or fight with other beggars, right? Because it is his swabhava. That's what Krishna is going to talk in the next shloka. So that's why Krishna is refuting his argument. Hey, no, don't think that you can escape, and then if you don't do any work, you won't incur any sinful reaction. Or you just, become a sannyasi and then, you can attain perfection. No, both the cases, it's not possible. That's what Krishna is trying to explain here. And fifth, so this is another thing. Everyone is forced to act helplessly according to the qualities he has acquired. Krishna is again explaining. Everyone has to act according to the swabhava. Okay. Qualities he has acquired from the modes of material nature. Therefore, no one can refrain from doing something, not even for a moment. Right? Krishna is explaining. Arjuna, don't think that you can renunciate, you go to you become a sannyasi and then do nothing. No, everybody has to do something because of the swabhava. Swabhava means it's very prakriti jair gunehi. There are three modes of material nature: mode of goodness, mode of passion, and mode of ignorance. Mode of ignorance is like sleeping a lot and then being very lazy, and then getting up late and then sleeping late night. What, right? Those are all mode of ignorance. And mode of passion is working very hard day and night to earn food, to earn money, right? And then compromising family relations and everything. And mode of goodness is when it's a sattvic guna. Sattva guna is when, right, we do everything as required, as appropriate. And Krishna says when one is in the mode of goodness, one has jnana and sukham, because our mind is not crazy or lazy. When we are in the mode of ignorance, our mind will be lazy. When we are in the mode of passion, our mind will be crazy. When we don't have those two things, our mind becomes calm and composed, and we will take right decisions, we'll take intelligent decisions, and we will work in a smart way, and we will get, sukham and jnana. That's what Krishna says. But that's why here Krishna says, but everybody is helplessly working according to the modes acquired. because it is said these three modes of material nature is again acted upon by something called as Mahamaya, right? Maya. Um, and that's a different concept. I don't want to confuse you much. But this is any questions, any doubts in this sloka? Does it make sense? I may make it more understandable. Anybody? Priyanka Mataji,
Yes, Prabhu.
Vishnuji, okay. Thank you.
Understood, Prabhuji.
Yeah, please let me know if you have any doubts. I want to make sure that we understand. So here, inaction is unnatural. So you cannot, keep the kid, silent for a long time. Kid has to, act. Uh, and and here, this is when Krishna is saying, again, Krishna is refuting Arjuna's argument. You cannot go and become a sannyasi, right? One prematurely, right? Arjuna is a kshatriya. He wants to work. He wants to fight. He says that I want to go to sannyasa. I want to beg food. Krishna says that's a premature sannyasa. You cannot do it. Because when you do that, when somebody does the sannyasa prematurely, their mind will always be thinking about, sense of, for example, if you're a millionaire, suddenly he gives up everything and goes to the forest, and then if he is waiting for the food for the next meal, right? You'll be thinking, oh my God, I was a crorepati and I lost all the money. Now I'm sitting here and begging, that will be the maturity level if somebody does this premature sannyasa or premature renunciation of work. That's why Krishna is saying he is a mithyachara. Mithyachara means pretender. Mithya means false. Achara means behavior. So we see a lot of sannyasis even in India, right? So they fall down very quickly because they are all premature sannyasis, premature, not practice. How one get detachment is by working with the detachment, slowly one develops a sense of renunciation. Krishna does not encourage sannyasis, right? He encourages a sense of detachment, not not working and then taking sannyasa. Being premature sannyasi is worse than being a karma yogi where we work with the detachment. Working with the detachment is more important, right? I will say one story which Prabhupada used to say. There was one mystic yogi, he has a self desire. Suddenly he renounced, and then he want to become a jnani, and then he has become a mystic jnani. He has got some mystic power. He went to Himalayas, and then did a lot of tapasya, and then he want to show off. Normally the jnanis and self-realized person, they don't show off. They, even if they have power, they don't do it like this. But he's a premature sannyasi, premature mystic power yogi. And then he came to his village back after several years, after 10 years. And then he said, he walked over the river, right, from one shore to another river. He walked on the river because of his mystic power that he gained through lot of tapasya and austerity, everything. They say ahima mahimas, lot of siddhis. There are 9 siddhis, ashtasiddhis. There are 8 siddhis. And he was able to walk over the river. And then everybody was amazed, and they were praising him. Oh my goodness, he's a great mystic yogi, and he was able to walk over the um, river. Then there was another um, real sannyasi or came, devotee came, and then he was asking. There was a He was asking this, premature sannyasi or pretender, mystic yogi. So you wasted 10 years of time just to save 2 rupees. And then this mystic yogi was surprised. What are you talking about it? I am able to walk from this part of the shore to the other part on the river. You think I wasted 10 years? This is a great yogic power. What you're saying? And then this devotee said, see, to cross the river from this shore to other shore, it takes only 2 rupees, right? Just to save 2 rupees, you spend 10 years of time. You better spend 2 rupees and then cross the river. So that is a type of sannyasis, premature yogis. Okay, that's on a laughing note. So, and Krishna is explaining. On the other hand, if he's a sincere person, right, who tries to control the senses in a regulated manner and begins karma yoga in Krishna consciousness without attachment, he is by far a superior. I think we need to. We will just do this and the second. Okay, we'll wrap up with this. Anybody wants to read this shloka after me?
Yes, Prabhuji, I can read.
Okay.
Yes.
Hare Krishna. Yastvindriyani manasa
Yes, Indriyani Manasa
niyam yarabhate juna
Niyam Yaravate Juna
karmendriyai karma yogam
Karmendriyaitam Yogam
asakta vishishyate.
Asaptasa Vishasyate. On the other hand, if a sincere person tries to control the active senses by the mind and begins karma yoga in Krishna consciousness without attachment, he is by far superior.
Thank you, Mataji.
Thank you. Prabhu.
See, in Bhagavad Gita, everywhere, it is all practical steps. Krishna does not want us to do anything, impractical. He says here, you do. If you want to enjoy, you do. If you want to eat gulab jamun, eat it. Take one or two, but don't try to eat 10. So that's what Krishna says. Whatever you do, right? Try to control your active senses by mind through regulation, through austerity, right? That's why we do yagadasi, virata. We have in Sanatana Dharma, right? We have all the viratas, right? Fasting just to control our senses. Here Krishna is saying, through using regulations, control your senses. That is better than premature sannyasis. If a person sincerely tries to control the active senses by mind and begins karma yoga with a detachment, with Krishna in his mind, right, he is far superior than the premature sannyasis. So that is the beauty of our Bhagavad Gita, right? Arjuna is asking, Krishna is responding, and Arjuna is, again needs clarification, and Krishna is clarifying, and there are some counter arguments. This is the beauty of all our, scriptures. We won't find it in any other scriptures. If it is, I'm not belittling, and I'm not um, saying anything. In other scriptures, like for example, Quran, it is unidirectional. What Allah said to Gabriel, and he will say to Prophet Muhammad, and Prophet Muhammad will say. It is a unidirectional. There is no conversation, there is no question and answers for clarifications on behalf of us. Here, on behalf of us, Arjuna is asking all these questions. The same in Bible as well. In the New Testament, it is more about the parables or stories, or in the Old Testament, it is more about the actions. It's also unidirectional. That is the beauty of our Bhagavad Gita and Bhagavatam, all question and answers. In the 11th chapter, Arjuna asked Krishna to show his Vishwarupa form. Because Arjuna asked, Krishna showed his Vishwarupa form. The reason is, in the future, if somebody says that I am God, he has to show his Vishwarupa form to prove that he is the God. That's what our acharyas explain. That is the reason why Arjuna asked Krishna to show his Vishwarupa form. Okay, let me wrap up whatever we studied so far. So Arjuna asked a question, why Krishna, you are confusing me between fight and that is karma yoga and jnana yoga. And then Krishna clarified, I want you to fight with the detachment. So Krishna explained there are two types of yoga: karma yoga. Karma yoga means you you do your work with a detachment, and jnana yoga means you renunciate and then you don't do any work. And then Krishna, but again, Krishna said, no, premature renunciation of work is not correct. Even if you prematurely renunciate your work, your mind will always be thinking about the sense enjoyment. Then you are a pretender, because that is not correct. For you, for everyone, we have to do our prescribed duties, and then without a detachment, that will develop a sort of renunciation in our mind. It is better to do our work with a detached mode. So that is the one point to be taken away from this class. And then Krishna will take us to the next level in the next class, how to do work with the detachment at the same time for the pleasure of the Lord. Nobody wants us to change any work or anything, lose, give up our work or lose this. As long as we are not butchers or killing animals, anything, any work is fine. But Krishna is saying, because that is what in Kali Yuga, but Krishna is asking us to work with the detachment and offer it to Lord. So we will see that in the next week. I also mentioned about the 3 hours story. I will take 5 minutes. Is it fine with everyone?
Yes, Prabhuji.
Yes, that is fine.
Okay. So there are 12 arvars in Sri Sampradaya in South, right? Those arvar in Tamil word, it is means immersed in bhakti. They're always immersed in bhakti. So these arvars are all sent by Krishna or Narayana to this world to to give scriptures, to share the bhakti to others. It is also said in Srimad Bhagavatam, this the bhakti cult, right? The Vaishnava bhakti cult started near the Kaveri river in the south. There is a shloka in Bhagavatam. And then it traveled to Kerala, Karnataka, Maharashtra, Andhra. Those they will explain. So these arvars, they were as per why the as per the um, the acharyas in the Sri Sampradaya, they are born 5,000 years back. But in terms of our history, it is said that they were born sometime between 600 AD and 1000 AD, between, right, at the start of this previous millennium. And so they are all born at the end of the Dwapara Yuga, because at the end of the Dwapara Yuga, Krishna knows we are going to get into Kali Yuga, and there are a lot of it's Kali Yuga is known for laziness, short lifespan, quarrel, hypocrisy, and full of distress, Dukkalayam and Ashashvatam, temporary place of distress. So Krishna has sent, Arvars and Acharyas, and all these things are spoken even at the end of the Dwapara Yuga, not in previous yugas. So Krishna is sending Arvas, Acharyas, our devotees to us, so that he can take us back home, back to God, and back to Vaikuntha. So these three Arvas, one is Poigai Arvar, other one is Bhudat Arvar, other one is Pei Arvar. So these three Arvars are the first Arvars, and they are Ionisha. Ionisha means they are not born out of a womb of a mother. They were born, this Poige Arvar was born in a pond on a flower, and Bhudat Arvar, again, he was born on a flower, and he was also, Pei Arvar was also born on a flower. And so as soon as they're born, they are like incarnations of Vishnu's weapons. All the Arvars are incarnation of some of the amsams or weapons of or paraphernalia of Narayana, Lord Narayana or Krishna. So in this case, the Poige Arvar is the incarnation of weapon, conch shell. of Lord Narayana or Krishna. So what is the name of council of Krishna or Narayana? Can anyone say?
Panchajanyam.
Panchajanyam. And Buddha Tarwar is the incarnation of a mace, Gada. And the Gada's name is Kaumodaki. Kaumodaki. And Peyarwar is the incarnation of Lord's sword. And that sword is called Nandaka. Okay, these three arvas are the incarnation of three weapons of Lord Narayana. So they are always immersed in bhakti. So one day, Poigi Arvar went to a place called Tirukovilur in Tamil Nadu. Tirukovilur is where there is a temple of Trivikrama. Okay, there was a Brigand Maharishi's ashrama was there, and Poigi Arvar went there, and Poigi Arvar asked the rishi, "Now, is it raining heavily? Can I take shelter today night?" He said, "It's a small room. You can sleep." And then Poigi Arvar entered into the room, a small room, and then a few minutes later, Buddha Tarwar came. He knocked the door, and Poigi Arvar was there. He was laying there, and he said, two people, one person can lay there, sleep there, but two person can sit here. So Buddha Tarwar is allowed into the room. So both Poigi Arwar and Buddha Tarwar were sitting, and then they don't talk because they don't do prajalpa. Prajalpa means chatting or gossiping. No, they are always immersed in Krishna Bhakti, Narayana Bhakti. They always think about the Kalyana Gunas, Nama Guna Rupa of the Lord. And then third Arvar, Pei Arvar came. He knocked the door, "Sir, may I come in? It is raining heavily." And the Sepogi Arvar said, "One person can sleep, two person can sit, but three person can stand." So it was so small room. So three of them were standing and they were immersed in the bhakti. But at that time, suddenly they were there is a congestion. They were feeling that there is a fourth person in the room. They don't know who is that. And they were in that moment ecstasy and they feel some divine power. And then Poigyar started writing 100 Pashurams, 100 shlokas. It is called Andadi. The last word of the previous shloka will be the first word of the second shloka. It is Anta will become Adi. Okay, Anta of the previous verse will be the Adi of the first, the next verse. He started writing. Then the shloka that he wrote was, the world is like a, what to say, the lamp, and this sea is like a ghee, and the sun is like a wick, and then it's just a little lamp. With that analogy, the world is like a lamp, and the sea is like a ghee, and the sun is like a wick. And then the Buddha Tarwar, he wrote another 100 shlokas. In that he said, that my love is the lamp, arvam. Interest, my interest is the ghee. My mind is the wick. So first Arvar, little lamp in the shloka, and the second Arvar, little lamp in that shloka, and the third Arvar is the one who saw the fourth person who was giving congestion in that room, in that small room. He found it was none other than Lord Narayana with Mahalakshmi. Right? So then they all see Lord Narayana came in that small room along with his bhaktas. It is always said, Lord Narayana, right? He does not want to stay in Vaikuntha. Wherever his devotees gather, he wants to come. That is the reason, traditional people want to go to Tirupati, even if there are crowd. The traditional Vaishnavas, they want to go there because that is when Lord Narayana will come. And Lord Narayana says, Krishna says to Narada, Naham tishtami vaikunte. I don't stay in the Vaikunta. Yoginam hridayesha che. I don't stay in the heart of the yogis. Tatra tishtami narada. Where I will stay is Yatra mad bhakta gayanti. Where my devotees gather and glorify me, where they do chant about me, where they talk about me. That is where Narada I will stay. I don't stay in some other place. So this is very important. So we are all gathered here. We don't know, maybe Krishna, maybe in unknown form, maybe sitting next to you or somewhere listening, because that is the quality of Krishna. Wherever these devotees are glorifying him, that is why, Nama Sankirtanam, we gather satsang, we read Bhagavad Gita, we chant the holy name. These are all, when you do it, we always invite Krishna and Lord Narayana, Lakshmi Narayana, Radha Krishna into that place to bless. So that is one story about the first 3 hours. They started this bhakti cult process, and there are another 9 hours, but we can discuss later. With that, let me wrap it up. Does anyone have any questions, any thoughts, any comments? Any Sai, Nirmalji, Saiji, Krishnaji, Priyankaji, Srinivasan?
No.
I'm good, Prabhuji. Thanks for the explanation. And it's a new things for those hours. I know, but I didn't know the more details. Yeah, it's nice to know. Thank you.
Thank you, Nirmalji. So I'll bring another story next week. Any questions? Sorry, I took 5 minutes, 10 minutes more. Okay. Now, if no questions, thank you very much, everyone. If I knowingly or unknowingly made any mistakes in terms of narrating the stories or the shlokas, I tried my level best to convey what the acharyas explain. If there is anything, please forgive me. But if I find anything interesting, anything useful, and it goes to Srila Prabhupada and the Guru Maharaj, all glories to Srila Prabhupada, all glories to Srimad Bhagavad Gita. Bhagavad Gita ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Thank you very much. Please join next week. We will see what Krishna has to say about Karma Yoga. He wants to take the Karma Yoga into the next step, see which will always be practical. Hare Krishna. Thank you.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Hare
Thank you,
Krishna.
Thank you.
Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna.